Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome to today's video. I wanted to discuss today the topic of clothing. Now, why I want to bring that up, basically a week or so ago, I went out on a camping trip with a few friends and there was a few brand new hikers, obviously asking a lot of questions before we went, and the conversation of clothes came up. A topic you don't really hear too much about, but I know and I remember very fondly when I first started hiking and camping how much unnecessary stuff I brought. So I want to share with you, I guess, my setup, which I fine-tuned over the years. It's important I give you a bit of context on the hiking and camping I do, because it obviously has a big impact on the clothes you wear and bring on the trip. So for me personally, a lot of my hiking camping is kind of between the 2 to 5 day mark in weather, tops of about 25 degrees Celsius down to about -3 or 4 degrees Celsius. So that's kind of the ballpark that I go out in. Now the reason I say that is because if you're doing a much longer hike, like a through hike, obviously your needs may be different in terms of what you wear, what you bring. Likewise, if you're hiking in the very high heat or the very cold type of weather, again, that's gonna differ quite a fair bit. But regardless, I want to share with you the three kind of categories I pack around. Obviously each trip is going to be a little bit different, but the three main categories for me are: number one, my day setup. So the setup I hike in for the day and I will wear day in and day out. For me, it does not change. I will wear the exact same thing. Doesn't matter how dirty it is, doesn't matter how wet it is. Because my trips are reasonably short, I don't pack any spares in terms of shirt, underwear, socks, pants. No spares. If it's wet, I'll just wear it the next day. It doesn't really bother me. The second setup is my sleeping setup. So again, it is just one setup. There are no spares, but I will do my utmost best to keep this set of clothes as clean and as dry as possible. So every night, even if it's been raining all day, I have a dry, warm set of clothes to change into and to sleep in. The third category is items of clothing which you wear based on special a special need based really, I guess, on the environment or the weather. So things like rain, your rain setup, for me that's a poncho, falls into that category, as well as warm weather gear, so a down jacket, gloves, a beanie, also fall into that category. So I guess let me show you what my setup consists of in all the three different categories and just kind of talk you through why I've chosen these items. So let's go have a look. Okay, so starting off on the left here, this is my hiking shirt. So like I said, I only bring one shirt. It's a long sleeve mountain design branded shirt. The reason I wear long sleeve is it gives me an extra, or the option of some extra sun protection. Very easy to roll the sleeves up and turn into a short sleeve shirt though. Material is really nice and thin and quite stretchy. It is quick dry and really well vented. You've got some mesh on the back here with some extra vents, so it's definitely kind of catered towards the hotter climate. But again, I do appreciate the long sleeve option there, just to give me some extra sun protection without having to kind of almost bathe in sunscreen to get away from the sun. But yeah, if needed, so simple to turn into a short sleeve shirt, and have had it for quite a while now, and you pretty much see in all my videos wearing this shirt. Absolutely awesome. On the right here, so starting off with just whatever brand of underwear. This is Bonds or something like that. I don't have a favorite pair. I just grab whatever's on top from the cupboard. These are my skins, so these are kind of 1/3. This is to stop the rubbing and the chafing. Like I said, I don't bring any spares of those for the kind of 2, 3, 4, 5 day hikes. One's enough. I don't really need more. For any more than I guess 5 days, I'd probably bring a spare pair of underwear. I probably almost certainly would, and just wash one pair in the river, have it dry, and just wear a new pair afterwards. But look, I'm not that fast, especially for 2, 3, or even 4 day hikes. Like, you're going to be dirty. and sweaty, etc. Anyway, so I don't need a clean pair for every single day. Used to, but I've learnt. When it comes to socks, I do buy, I think these are icebreaker socks, so merino wool, so I spend a little bit more money, I find I get fewer blisters, less chance of having holes in them, and they're just kind of a little bit more comfortable. So whereas, you know, for the underwear, I don't really care what I wear. For the socks, I do, so I only hike in certain kind of socks. But as you can see, they're pretty much just ankle socks. Since I wear trail runners instead of boots, I don't need big long socks. I've made a separate video as to why I wear trail runners instead of boots. If you want to check that out, I'll leave that in the link below. And that kind of leaves us over to the pants. So as you can see, as daggy as these are, they are the zip pants, so they go from full length to kind of shorts. Again, I have the option of extra sun protection, or if I'm doing, you know, hiking uphill or it's quite hot, I can turn these into shorts, and just as easy. So it just gives me a little bit more flexibility, and that's pretty much it. That's my day hiking setup. Apart from, you know, a hat and sunnies, this is what I wear day in, day out, for a few days in a row. Doesn't matter if they're wet or dirty, it'll do, doesn't bother me. So when it comes to sleep setups, it's even simpler. In short, you can see here, this is an icebreaker branded, so merino wool, thermal top. I've got a few different thicknesses, depending on how cold it's expected to get. But that always comes on at night. I have a beanie up here, so again, merino wool. That can be categorized as kind of, you know, that special third category, but since I sleep in a quilt, I'll almost always wear my beanie for that extra warmth, so I chucked it in the sleep category. Moving over to the right, thermal bottoms, so these are just kind of thermal tights. They're not compression tights or anything like that, they're purely thermal. Again, icebreaker branded, so merino wool, and depending how cold it's going to get, well, depends what kind of thickness I'll bring. And last but not least, I have a pair of sleeping socks, so my feet do tend to get reasonably cold, and I definitely want a dry pair of socks, clean pair of socks to sleep in, so I'll bring those. I never wear these during the day. They're purely to sleep in, to keep my feet warm. And again, because I sleep in a quilt, you've got that little you might get that little draft at the bottom, so the socks definitely, I find they do help, so it's definitely part of my sleeping kit. And yeah, it's nice and simple, as you can see here. Like I mentioned, I'll get to camp, once everything's done, I'm ready for bed, I'll pretty much change into these clothes, and they're always going to be dry and reasonably clean compared to my other ones. And so this third category here is that kind of special category. So for that, this is my rain gear, my poncho. I've got a separate video as to why I don't bring a rain jacket or rain pants anymore. Instead, I just bring a poncho. I'll link that down below if you're interested. Warm weather gear, so for me it's this Patagonia down jacket, nice and simple. Again, I don't really go crazy when it comes to cold weather camping, -3, -4 Celsius, so I find this is enough. I can obviously layer it with my thermals if I get desperate, you know, for the evenings in camp or in the mornings. I've got some gloves here. These are possum wool gloves, absolutely amazing, great fabric. Definitely recommend if you can get your hands on a pair of possum wool gloves. They're well worth it. Really, really good fabric. And then finally up here is a merino wool buff. So, you know, it just kind of keeps you that little bit warmer. Again, especially, you know, sometimes I'll sleep with that since I sleep in a quilt, and it just gives me that little bit extra warmth and a little bit of extra protection from the cold. So yeah, this is kind of my items of clothing, which, you know, I'm not going to wear all the time. I'll just wear in special circumstances. So that kind of, you know, third category, which I talked about beforehand. So that's really it for this video, guys. As you can see, I don't bring a lot of clothes. I don't go for any crazy long hikes, but, you know, even a couple of years ago, for those kind of 2-3 day trips, I would bring, you know, spare shirts or spare pants, spare underwear, spare socks, etc. And, you know, it doesn't take long to figure out that you're gonna get wet, you're gonna get dirty, sweaty, etc. Every day. So you're just dirtying another set of clothes where you could, it's indifferent. You might as well just wear the same pair if you're only going for a couple of days. You don't really need to wash. Where I do keep a spare set of clothes is in the car for the trip home. I find that definitely helps the smell. But on the trail, I just have that one set. If you do have any questions on this video or just general comments, leave them down below. I do make sure to read and answer as many as I can. If you did get something out of it, give it a thumbs up. It's very much appreciated, and hit that subscribe button for future videos. As always, until next time, happy trails.